Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Shadow and Sun. Tonight, the little guy is going to paint the world-famous
What do you mean? What do you mean?
Bulbo. We know you've all been waiting for it for a while. So have we. Tonight, the little guy's going to paint up a storm for you. Why don't you tell them how we started out?
What do you mean?
Well,
Oh yeah,
besides the spray silver primer,
we took the pieces that were used to make this and we put them together.
you want to tell them about the little difficulty you had?
Oh yeah, the connecting these two pieces, the teeth and the back part, is easy. Connecting the legs is kind of easy. You just have to make sure they don't fall off while putting them together. The feet things are okay. But putting the eye in, actually no, the teeth are a separate part. The teeth are a separate part. But putting the teeth in and the eye in, or at least when I did it, required a specific order. And you actually needed, I think it was the top one, or maybe it was the bottom one, I don't know, I put the legs in first. That you needed to put it in, but at an angle, and then you need to put these two in a specific order, and then you need to close this one. It's kind of hard to show or to explain when it's already put together and painted, or primered. But there was an issue, well not really an issue, just it was, you needed to put this together in a specific way.
Okay, he's going to start by painting certain areas white. Those areas are the areas he's going to later cover with another color so that they don't look so shiny from the silver. Like the inside of the mouth, the teeth, parts of the eyeball, and a couple other little locations that will look better if they are white first. This is often called an undercoating. For the primer, we used a very, very shiny silver spray can and then gave it a good 24 hours to dry so that it maintained as much of its shininess as possible. And if any of that is lost, we can always dry brush back over it with I believe it's Shining Silver from Army Painter. For all of our painting, we'll be using Army Painter paints and inks. Right now he's using matte white for the undercoating. He'll then be using a soft tone on the teeth and horns to give it a more bone-like color. For the legs and the base, we'll be using the dark tone wash. For the red, we're going to be using a neon red. It's actually sort of a cheapy craft paint, but because of the color, we really liked it, so we're going to be using that. And we might be using some homemade contrast paints on a few of the other areas, but those will probably be in part 2 of this video.
Oh, why we're doing
There's no way you're going to finish that tonight.
Yeah, I know, I just...
How's that paint? Not drying too fast?
No.
Okay, cool. Don't feel like you have to rush. This is supposed to be fun. Remember, everybody, that's the main reason for all this, is to have fun. Never feel like you have to push yourself too hard, paint too fast, get anything done by a schedule. Unless you're wargaming and you got a big game for the weekend that you need to be ready for, there's usually no reason to ever rush a paint job. especially something as awesome as this guy. We really both enjoyed this miniature from the first time we saw it, and we're really glad that we got a copy of this from Archon with our pledges. We did add a little bit of water to this paint. Sometimes Army Painter can come out kind of thick and gloppy, so we added a little water to this to make it easier to go on. If it's too runny, you can always do another coat of it. So far, it looks really good.
There are a few, well, I don't want to say issues, but there are a few things that I'm not exactly sure if they're supposed to be metal or if they're supposed to be flesh. So I assume that it would just be safest to only do things flesh that you know for a fact aren't mechanical. Like there are a few things that kind of look like wires and like tubes and cables in the mouth.
Yeah, it's definitely a weird little monster. It is kind of hard to tell where the biological stops and the mechanical starts in some places. Personally, I would have done almost the whole thing just metal and left it as an entire robot, but did you miss any spots?
No, there are a few spots that I don't think I'm able to do.
Okay.
But at the same time, they could be mechanical, or they could be biological.
I definitely like this miniature better than I like Jerry the Jello. I have to admit that the Jerry the Jello is kind of, well, just not as good as this miniature. Maybe I'll change my mind when it comes in the mail next year, but right now I don't think so. How about you?
I don't know.
It's trying to be a gelatinous cube miniature, but it's just so busy with the lance and the skeleton and all those added details that it sort of makes it harder to tell that that's what they were going for. Can I take a look?
Sure.
You missed a spot right here.
Where?
Behind that bone, that's spiky.
Oh. Actually, no, I didn't miss it. It's just it dried
Oh.
or something,
And then it ran down to the point.
either that or it just dried, but there wasn't enough paint that when it did dry, you couldn't really tell.
I probably had too much water.
Yeah, you definitely did.
Okay.
It's way too runny.
Okay, well you can always mix it up on the palette if that helps. You're doing the circle on the back?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you did that perfect.
Not perfectly. Still try to stabilize the paintbrush a bit better.
It's all muscle memory. You got to do it a million times before you're great at it, and then a million more times at it before you're a professional. I've been painting for 40 years and I'm still not great. But you have so much of your grandmother's talent built in. I'm pretty sure you'll probably be a lot better than I am when you're my age.
I think that's
That's it?
for now, at least for the white.
Okay, you ready to go on to the ink? Clean your brush. You didn't even need the mistake brush.
Actually, I did.
Really?
But the thing is, I think
Oh, okay.
actually, yeah, I probably should use that
Where?
for a few spots. But
Oh,
they're
it's probably too late now. The paint's probably dried.
But this paint is so wet that
You think if you can get it? The mistake brush is where you take a brush with water and you go and you try to soak up the paint that doesn't belong by getting it saturated with water and then using the paintbrush as sort of a sponge to slurp up the paint that doesn't belong until it's pretty much...
then I think the issue that I made could be solved easily just by dry brushing.
Think so?
Yeah.
Okay, well...
Yeah, when I did the first sort of lines, if you can see here
Yeah.
on the other side, which you can see over there.
Yeah, since it's such a deep recess, it'll be easier to just dry brush some shining silver over it and
Yeah.
cover it up, or even some edge highlighting or something like that.
Just gonna try to. You do. Small. So yeah, I'm pretty much
Okay.
done with that.
On to the dark tone. He's going to slather the legs with a generous wash of dark tone.
That was a lot easier.
Okay, this stuff dries sometimes really quick, but
So-
don't feel, just get some,
So how am I supposed to do this? Do I just?
start at the top of the legs and work down.
Does it matter if I just put it? Does it matter where I put it?
It's going to run into the crevices and go where gravity pulls it, and you can always go back over it again. Since these lines and indentations and crevices are so deep on the leg, we will definitely need a bit of it and then go over it when it dries with some shining silver.
Why do you always use the exact names of things?
Just so the people at home can follow along if they want it to look exactly like how we did it. It's really helpful to know the exact color, the exact brands. We've had a lot of people actually ask us, what we used, how we did something, and I am the same way. When I watch somebody's video and I want to reproduce their exact effect, the right tools make it a lot easier. Guesswork is not my strong suit when it comes to painting. I want step-by-step instructions. It might be easier to hold it by the base when you get down to the bottom parts of the legs.
Yeah, it's just that I think I got a bit too much.
You just move it around. That brush I gave you is got a lot of area to soak up paint, or in this case ink, to where it'll sponge it up and you can just move it to somewhere else. And just try to do like one side and then flip it over and do the other side. And go all the way down to the bottom of the feet. Yeah, you did a good job on the white.
I actually kind of like how the small amount of, and probably will either move or, but I actually kind of like how the small amount of wash that ends up staying on the raised areas.
Yeah, since it's not quite as runny as some of the stuff I've used, it will kind of stain the upper levels.
But I actually do kind of like how that looks.
Yeah, it gives it more of a contrast to the bright shiny silver everywhere else. And since its legs are, 90% of the miniature,
But actually a bit more like 70%.
that, they're probably going to get the most use. They're probably going to need a lot of oil, and, they're going to pick up dust and particles. And yeah, it does have a completely different overall look to it. You might not even want to do a dry brush of shining silver on it, just to leave it exactly like you said, the way it is.
Right.
Just trying to see something that you did on the underside.
What?
I was just trying to see the other part of the leg. I think you need to go right up here.
Oh yeah, there's nothing here.
Yeah,
There's nothing at the front of the legs.
yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah, it's, especially when it's right next to each other, it's really,
Noticeable?
yeah, the difference. And I kind of like it.
Yeah, I do too, actually.
But
It will look a little different when it dries, like all paint. When the paint dries, it can have a completely different look than when it's wet.
But I think,
Like when I was using those contrast paints, they look they look a lot brighter when you're first putting it on, and then when it's completely dried, it's a little
okay, I
different.
think that leg is done.
Okay, go ahead and move on to the next leg. You need more? Is that...
No, I don't need more.
Okay.
The next leg,
Again, probably best to hold it by the base.
yeah, but
It's I know it's a little uncomfortable.
no, I mean, it's kind of difficult to actually pick it up by the base.
Oh yeah, definitely. You have to have like super long fingernails. Yeah, I thought the ink was actually going to hide deeper in the crevices and not really change the raised areas.
But it definitely did.
Yeah.
But it actually looks, I think, a lot better.
We may even want to do some more of that on other areas besides just the legs when it's dry. But we'll wait and see.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking of doing that on like the tubes and stuff.
The tubes? Yeah.
Like these cables right here. Oh. Yeah, I think I might need a bit more.
Yeah, you definitely need more. Like I said, this stuff does dry quicker than regular paints I've found.
Also, I think it's just because I've been using a lot more of it.
No, definitely.
Okay, I think I did the, well, if I need to get a lot of it in down here.
Using the stabbing technique. A lot of times when you paint miniatures, you're not really painting with the brush, you're kind of just stabbing or poking it and just getting a little bit on, especially really small parts. You can't really get an actual like brush stroke. You just stab it and hope for the best.
It looks a lot darker there than how it actually is. But it does look really good. It might not look the same on the camera, but it does look a lot better.
Yep.
Yeah, on the camera, it looks a bit...
Do you want to do the hoses tonight?
There's no real reason not to.
Okay. I was going to say you could either do that or do the bottom of or the top of the base, or we could call it a night.
Are we gonna do the soft tone?
It depends on whether the teeth are dry. Go ahead and finish the hoses, I guess, and you might even want to use a smaller brush.
Huh?
Yeah, that's up to you. I'm asking. You know, a lot of people I know use one brush for the entire job and just they get comfortable with a brush and they just use it till they can't use that brush anymore. I personally change brushes for everything. It's different tool for different job is my philosophy. But I know a lot of people use really larger brushes than I've ever dreamed of using just because they're that much more talented than I am, or they know how to use it differently than I do. But I'm really glad I've got the smallest brushes available.
Are they the actual smallest?
The 000s that I talked about in in the bookshelf video, I think it was. I don't know how I've managed to paint all these years without those.
There are some smaller cables, but they are way too small to use this brush for.
Okay.
I think they might be dry enough.
Let's take a look real quick. Yeah, I think so. Sometimes these washes will actually rehydrate your paint, and that's not a good thing.
Really?
Yeah, especially with white and bone, I've noticed. Is that brush clean?
It's still wet.
Well, put it to the side here. Ready to go onto the teeth. Now I use this a lot for things like skeletons and bone piles and what have you to do teeth. You might want to use the smaller brush again because you're going to be doing the teeth. Yeah, I would use this one for the bone, for the teeth. Oops, I just accidentally touched. Here, take the miniature.
Yeah, it's drying a bit. But that might just... Oh, that's a cool effect.
You like that?
Hmm?
How's it look?
It looks good. I mean, I kind of think that it's a bit too much. But at the same time, it isn't.
It will dry, and we can always go over it with an ivory color. Do a little dry brushing of ivory if it's too dark for the teeth.
If it's too dark?
Yeah.
No, it's not. It's not that it's too dark. It's just... Well, actually, I don't know. It almost but no, not really, actually. Not at all. Just ignore what I just said.
Okay. You're the artist tonight, so we want to make sure it looks exactly how you want it to turn out. And if worst comes to worst, we can always toss it in the goop and take off all the paint.
Oh yeah, that video. That people...
Had to suffer through.
Not that many people actually did.
There are a lot of videos about taking paint off miniatures, but...
Yeah, then why did you...
Because I came up with a way that cuts out all the guesswork. Find a wet spot?
No, it's just I forgot to do the back of the teeth on the top row.
Feel like a dentist?
What?
Do you feel like a dentist?
That's a stupid joke.
Every time I see that miniature, I kind of think of the Little Shop of Horrors
Video?
movie. You know, we watched it a long time ago.
Yes, we did.
It's just a more mechanical version.
Yes, a more mechanical version of a plant.
You never know. He could be a plant. Yeah. I know.
What are you saying?
He's definitely I don't know. What do you think he was before he was cyberized?
I don't.
Or was he ever not cyberized?
I don't know.
It's looking good.
I think that's good.
We'll see. Yeah. I like it. It's definitely going to contrast. Definitely going to look creepy. Especially when they put the red in the mouth.
I'm pretty sure that's it.
Yeah, for tonight, that'll be it. When do you want to finish this up? Tuesday or Thursday? Or do you want to wait till Sunday? I know you don't want to wait till Sunday, do you?
Yes, I do.
You want to wait till Sunday?
I don't know. Probably.
All right, we'll get back to you guys at least Tuesday and let you know when we'll finish this off. But we will have another video for you Tuesday and Thursday this week.
Like most of the time.
Yes. So thanks for tuning in. Hope you guys had a great weekend, and we'll see you then. Say bye.
Goodbye.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great week.